Good morning, all. The topic for today is impacted teeth. This is the part two or the continuation of what we just been discussed last week. Last week we saw about the mandibular impaction, and this week we are going to see about the maxillary impaction and canine impaction, their classification, and their surgical treatment modalities, how it can be surgically removed. So by end of the topic, the student should be able to outline indication and contraindication of impacted tooth, discuss the degree of difficulty and risk associated with the removal of such tooth and appropriate type of anesthesia, select appropriate surgical method and technique, recognize perioperative and postoperative complications of surgery for impacted teeth. So the same clinical examination for the third molar holds good for the maxillary third molar as well. You have to examine for the mouth opening, the bulkiness of the cheek and the vestibule, and the position of the third molar. The radiographical evaluation will give you where the position exactly it is, whether it is easily accessible. The classification will give you the depth of position and how difficult it is going to be. And the surgical technique planning will help you to carry out the procedure at ease. So in clinical examination, you not only see for the normal anatomical structure, you also see for the pericornarius and dental caries, which is similar to that of what it is for the mandibular third molar. You also ask for the history of present illness and also ask for the medical history before you proceed for surgical removal. As I already mentioned, extraoral, small mouth, retrograde mandible, less mouth opening, access is difficult. Look for the soft tissues of the intraoral examination. If the cheeks are bulky, it is going to be difficult to remove the tooth. IOPA, OPG, occlusal and CT, cone beam CT are the common modalities for evaluation for maxillary third molars. The tube shift technique is used to locate the position of the third molar, whether it is buccal or palatal. These are some of the pictures of the OPG, the full mouth intraoral periapical views, and the occlusal radiograph. There are three positions in maxillary impaction, which is position A, B, C, the same as similar to what it has been to that of the second molar. So position A is at the occlusal surface, position B is the middle of the crown of the adjacent second molar, position C is at the below the cervical margin. So this will determine the difficulty of impaction. So similarly, you got mesangular, distangular, vertical, horizontal, buccal, angular, linguangular, or inverted. There is also an important anatomical structure that you need to take into consideration when you are extracting an impacted third molar is the sinus, maxillary sinus. The maxillary sinus relationship has to be estimated. There is sinus approximation when there is no bone or very thin bone exists between the impacted tooth and floor sinus. It is no sinus approximation and 2 mm or more of bone exists between the floor of the sinus and the impacted tooth. These are the list of things that complicate the surgical removal of the third molar, maxillary, the sinus approximation, close proximity to second molar, fusion of roots with second molar, unfavorable root curvature, increased bone density, and decreased mouth opening. So annular flap design and reflection. The same what it has been followed from mandibular third molar is used. So a clavicular incision is placed till the anterior papilla of first molar, extended posteriorly towards the second molar and extended distally over the third molar region. Elevate the flap. A triangular flap is a vertical anterior release has been given for releasing the mucoperiosteal flap for surgical removal of maxillary third molars. This is a line diagram showing a triangular flap and a line diagram showing a Watt's flap for surgical removal. This is the picture of an annular flap that is extended till the mesial aspect of the first molar. The clinical picture representing a triangular flap. Clinical picture representing elevation of the flap. The clinical picture representing the elevation of tooth out of the socket. A Warwick-James retractor is used to remove the tooth out of the socket. A simple wheel and axle principle is used to expose the tooth or elevate the tooth out of the socket. If the tooth is exposed without any bone covering and the socket is sutured with 3-0 vicryl. The list of complications for surgical removal: the laceration of soft tissue during the procedure, that is due to the improper incision, improper elevation of flap and improper retraction. Then fracture of tuberosity. This occurs with erupted rather than unerupted tooth due to improper use of force. Then involvement of maxillary sinus. During removal of impacted third molar, orantal fistula may result in orantal floor in breach. Pushing of impacted tooth into the maxillary sinus. Pushing of maxillary molar into the pterygoid fossa. Aspiration or swallowing of the impacted tooth if it is carried out in general anesthesia. This can be avoided by throat packing when general anesthesia is being administered. The postoperative complications are going to be pain, infection, hemorrhage, trismus, limitation of jaw movement, pain at TMJ, pain on swelling due to edema of pharynx and hematoma formation. The next impaction, what we are going to say is about the canine tooth that is impacted. Devil stated that no tooth is more interesting than the development point of view than the maxillary canine, because the canine develops in the deepest area of the maxilla and has got the longest path of eruption, travels approximately 22 millimeters during its course of eruption and has got the longest period of development. So the potential for canine impaction after the mandibular third molars is high when compared to the other tooth. There are a lot of theories regarding the cause of impacted canine. One is the long path of eruption, second is crowding of the teeth, the third one is non-resorption of the root of the deciduous canine, and fourth one is trauma, and the fifth one is entry. Looking at the etiology of canine impaction, it is due to the tooth size, arch length discrepancy. There is a prolonged retention of early loss of primary canine, abnormal position of the tooth, but presence of alveolar cleft, ankylosis of the tooth, cystic and neoplastic formation, bilaceration of the tooth, iatrogenic origin, idiopathic condition. The classification of impacted canine, it can be maxillary or mandibular. They can be either buccally placed or palatally placed or maxillary canine, or they can be buccally placed or lingually placed for mandibular canine. There are 5 classifications or class, we call it as, depending upon the position. Class 1 is palatally placed maxillary canine. It can be horizontal, vertical or semi-vertical. Class 2 is labially or buccally placed maxillary canine, horizontal, vertical or semi-vertical. Class 3 is involving both buccal and palatal bone. Class 4 is alveolar process between the incisors and premolar. And class 5 is edentulous maxilla. The diagnosis depends upon 2 aspects. One is clinical and one is radiographic. The clinical method for diagnosis examine or assess the facial form, arch form and symmetry, the relationship of maxillary dental midline to facial midline, centric relation and centric occlusion position should be carefully recorded, overjet and overbite should be carefully recorded, delayed eruption of permanent canine, prolonged retention of deciduous canine, absence of normal labial canine bulge, presence of palatal bulge, delayed eruption, distal tipping or migration of lateral incisor. The radiographic method for diagnosis. In treatment planning, the exact localization of position of impacted canine is necessary. The radiographs that are commonly taken as periapical view. If we want to go for extraoral view, we can go for PA view, lateral cephalogram and OPG. PA view and lateral cephalogram are done if there is no OPG available. Otherwise, the choice for radiograph will be an orthoponomograph. Or you can go for an occlusal radiograph for both maxillary and mandibular arch. This is an important question that has to be answered. When to extract an impacted canine? An orthodontist will come to a conclusion if it is ankylosed and cannot be transplanted, if it cannot be brought into the position, or if it is going an external resorption or internal root resorption. If the root is severely dilacerated, then it cannot be moved, it serves as an anchor. If the impaction is severe on central and lateral incisor, an orthodontic movement is jeopardize the teeth. If the occlusion is deranged with first premolar in canine position, and if there are pathologic changes that around the tooth. The extraction can be done through a labial approach or a palatal approach depending upon the position of the teeth. This is a case where it has been identified that the tooth is positioned labially and a labial approach has been done. A clavicular incision is placed along with the vertical release incision. A mucoperiosteal flap raised, buccal bone exposed. Tooth is located. Once the tooth is exposed, always expose the cervical margin of the tooth, because it is easy to split the tooth at the cervical margin than at the crown. Split the tooth below the crown, remove the crown, and remove the root. So you can see the root has been removed. Since the tooth is completely embedded, you can see the tooth follicle that surrounds the tooth is being curated off. This is a tooth that has been surgically removed, and you can see the socket after the surgical removal of an impacted canine on the right side. If it is going to be on the palatal bone, this was again a case of an impacted tooth impinging on the tooth on the buccal aspect. Same way, deroof the crown of the impacted canine. Remove the canine. Since the path of exit is not hindered by any tooth, and you can see the crown easily. It can be taken out without splitting the tooth, and sutures are placed. This is using the palatal approach. A clavicular incision is placed. The arrow mark shows where the impacted canine is on the palatal aspect. Clavicular incision is placed from canine to canine or the premolar region where the impacted canine is there on the adjacent side. Palatal mucosa reflected off the bone. Buccal bone removed. Tooth split done and tooth elevated. You can see a dilacerated tooth, which is one of the indications for removal of an impacted tooth. This is a picture showing the tooth after being removed. Interdental sutures are given to hold the palatal mucosa in place. The next is going to be atopic impacted canine. You can see on the radiograph the canine is placed horizontally over the apex of the first molar and second premolar. You can see an incision being placed on the vestibule. Flap, mucoperiosteal flap raised. A postage stamp method of bone guttering is being done, which is nothing but just drilling holes and then connecting them, like how the postage stamp is being torn. So this is how it has been connected, and the window is open. Once the window is open, you can see the tooth lying there, and the tooth has been elevated out of the socket, and the incision is closed back. So apart from the surgical removal of impacted canine, the surgeon also does exposure of an impacted canine to facilitate an orthodontist to bring it in position. So the arrow mark shows the position of an impacted tooth, whereas there is going to be a prominence there. The clavicular incision is placed and then the tooth is exposed, and then the tooth is exposed so that an orthodontist could place a bracket on the exposed tooth and then tie it to the arch wire to bring in alignment to its position. So on the left picture you can clearly see the bracket is being placed on the impacted tooth and is tied to the arch wire on either side. If this impacted canine is not removed, what is the sequelae of being not removed? There can be a labial or lingual malposition of the neighboring teeth. There can be migration of the neighboring teeth and loss of arch length. There can be internal resorption. There can be a dentigerous cyst formation. These are the common sequelae that can happen if the surgical removal of an impacted canine is not performed, or a treatment plan for an impacted tooth is not being done, and if it is left in place. So all this while we have been seeing the sequelae. In addition to that, there can be external root resorption of the impacted tooth as well as the neighboring tooth. infection, particularly with eruption, there can be a referred pain, and there can be combination of any of the above sequelae if it has not been addressed. So all this while we have been seeing the impaction of a maxillary, third molar and a canine, how to address it, how to surgically remove it. So again, thank you. Have a nice day.